to share, like, what was your education background? Because you just mentioned,
Oh,
like, yeah, yeah.
oh, my sin. I was in the classics, Latin and Greek,
Wow.
but I also was in linguistics
Okay.
and was very aware of binary logic and Chomsky's work on deep and surface structure. Well, I wanted to get an Orthodox literature PhD at the University of Denver with a minor in classics, classical Greek, Ionic, Homeric. I think I was rather pig-headed. I thought I was so great, but I had a lot to learn. I couldn't get myself a job, so I wound up going back to what the family had been involved in all of the companies around the peninsula.
Okay.
My mother worked at which was where they developed PCM and TDM for D4 multi. Of course, I rather had my nose turned up, and she got me a job soldering on an assembly line there. And later, I got that job in the Navy at Delmo Victor doing the microwaves. And then, then I went over to Fahrenheit after I'd blown out of a teaching job in Arizona. Came back, oh no, what now? And that's how I got into technical writing.
Right.
I think it's like the real estate people, location. I happen to be growing up on the peninsula, and all of the jobs that you could get as a kid involved working for those electronic companies that were doing early digital working. And since my mother had worked in it, it was natural. And again, knowing Bill Buckley, that was an accident, but a fortuitous one.
Right.
You in those days, you bumped into people, and things would just, because it was such a fertile environment in the Silicon Valley then, especially after the FCC classified customer premise equipment as the responsibility of the end user, instead of the carrier or the ISP provider. Now the customer had to buy it, and it created a huge market. And that's where routers come from. The internet provider, the ISP, would automatically provide one with support. Now you had to buy one,
Right.
and which created field service.
Right.
That's the word.
Yeah.
I mean, in the Valley is that when you sign up for a job on LinkedIn, they want someone they can just plug in with a certain skill set, and you don't match it exactly. You're not going to learn.
True. Even as you just said, it's compared to technical writing back in 1980s and now today, what is the biggest shift that you have observed? You have been in this career for so long.
Well, I can't really speak as an expert in today's environment because, as I said, I look at the ads and they say, must have AI, must have CL, must have this. And obviously, there are people who have a certain skill set that they utilize. But my area of expertise is in new product development, interacting with engineers.
Right.
So I document the way test sets work in conjunction with end user devices, which is kind of oddball, but it's my own area that I've developed myself. I did interview the other day with Ravel, done in Santa Clara, and the configuration of semiconductors translates immediately into the hardware that they drive. So that's my area of connection. But of course, I worked at DCM Industries, which was again a spin-off. They test them using automated test equipment, software in mass. So they had one person who's controlling the testing, and then you have a bank of technicians verify.
Right.
Like for pretty simple stuff like RS-232 analog connector, but they also tested USB 2. So I was working with a guy, his name's Sam Perez, who was testing USB 2. So I had to run the tests while he was the senior guy qualifying it. And in that capacity, I had a hand in the USB 2 spec. My name's in there somewhere. Dubiously, I think it's just a pinout. And they also went to those fast analog ports that are working right here on Xfinity, connecting. So I have a background of I call myself a layer 0, layers 1 man. I'm very good at hardware.
Right.
I can be like a tech at the same time.
Right.
That I'm documenting.
Right.
Cases. That's what I did with a DS3. It's like a synchronous multiplex that connects a LAN to a SAN, and there's a spec for me. And so I operated at the same time. I documented it using information from the VP of engineering at Fujitsu with a CLI beneath the level of the software. So I inside and out, right at the interface and right on the inside of the device. And with my knowledge of electronics, pretty simple stuff, it's always like micro voltages, like 3C plus or minus, nothing too dangerous. But
it seems to me like more engaging for you because you are involved in the hardware part as well, compared to our generation who are not much, don't got that opportunity to get engaged.
It's when you get the hands on. I've looked at these things and touched them.
Right, that's quite tangible experience that you had.
Well, in the latter phase of my career, again the phone rang. When I got back from, I think DCM in San Leandro, where I was doing all the interfaces, crashed during the dot bubble. Hardware devices anymore to test. So they started shrinking. And just at that point, Saki Jang from Margala Communications called on the phone from Woodside. And he said, would you like to be my copy editor? I said, sure, why not? And he was the manager for Ethernet services at Sun, Stanford Network. And when Oracle bought Java, the language, from all of the people in-house were propelled into the stratosphere with money. Saki got himself his $10 million and moved to Woodside and started functioning as a CEO for what's the other place, knowing in advance about where it's going. Modest, but something better than a salary.
Right.
And also I learned because he, promotes different software and hardware. The place he's embedded, like he's embedded in Broadcom as a mini CEO, drawing his money in, investing. And he's also writing marketing white papers that he passes across to me. And for things like SmartNICs for accessing SANs, and smart means AI at the interface, those chips. So I've been his chief cook and bottle washer for these white papers. I could give you the link to his site and you can see what I did on my knowledge of industry jargon and rewrite them. And he seemed to have that. But lately, I think he's been getting sick and he told me, but I can kind of read the signs. So I'm out looking around for something to happen, but I've been with him since 2004. And he got to be the CEO of Periphery in Florida with entertainment and media files from the desktop. And what's going on there is Periphery has software that you can install in your desktop and you can put together first-run movies with special effects using smart technology. And so Saqib is very, very smart. He's from MIT and business school. He's like a prodigy. And wherever Saqib goes, things are, I'll miss him. I hope I thought he was going to start his own company. I was thinking, I'm going to be able to park in the parking lot. And now it's been quiet.
Okay, yeah.